Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Championship Sunday here at the PWR DUPR India Masters. After 3 remarkable finals, it's now time for the mixed doubles final. An all-Aussie pairing of Danni, Townsend and George Wall towards the left side of the court there. On the right side, in all white, it's Indian sensation Armaan Bhatia. Practicing those rallies, warming himself up against his Dutch partner, Roos van Reek, who just grabbed the doubles gold alongside Katie Hart. We're about to start the race for gold. It'll be a best of 3 games, each game a total of 11 points. Roos van Reek happy with that time she received for recovery post that final. It was a long one against Shea and Wang. Can she get double gold? Armaan Bhatia also looking for double gold, but he has the opportunity to go for the triple crown, because after this he will step on court for the men's doubles final.
And we're here for yet another final, the mixed doubles it is. I'm dressed up for war. George, how's the Josh?
Hi, sir.
He knows he's impressed his opponents already. But big, big game coming up. How have you guys prepped for this? You know, these guys have played a bunch of games already. Does that give you an advantage?
I feel like we played well out here last night, played loose, kept the energy high, had fun, and we're going to do the same again tonight.
Look, you said the thing that you hate about him the most, that he's old. After seeing his performance in the last few days, you stick to that.
Yeah, he's still old. He gives that OMG factor, though, the old mad George.
I love it. Mate, you've had a little time off. Are you prepped for this? Are you tired? Are you good to go? Because the bugs are destroying everything. You need some shades on for this.
I'm good. Yeah, prep for it. Excited. Let's see how it goes.
You give a bunch of interviews, you look good, you feel good, you smell good as well. Speaking. All right, what do you do in such a short break? Because do you cool down, do you relax, do you warm up? Because it's 15 minutes and back-to-back games. You're the only one who's done that today.
I mean, I just texted my mom. So, yeah, no, I just had some water and just changed outfit and I'm ready to go.
Lovely. In India, we call it Maka Ashirvad, which is the blessing of the mother. Never fails. But we'll find out. Live action coming up.
Well, that was some energy from all 4 athletes. The Josh indeed high, the energy super high at its peak. Roos van Reek seeking mom's blessings as she goes for double gold. That's what they're fighting for, the glittering trophy. Armaan Bhatia also seeking 2 gold medals should he win this one. But he has the opportunity to get 3 today. That one singles final that he just played against Dusty Boyer is one for the history books. He was down 4-9 in that second game. He had lost the first game. It was almost over. He manages to come back, win the second. And what was the score in the third? 0-8. Dusty Boyer just needed 3 points to be your champion. Armaan Bhatia went on to win 11 in a row. Now he's back on court alongside Roos van Reek, but the Aussie duo is not one to be
all right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This
taken
is,
lightly. As we listen in to our chief referee, Mr. Byron
second to
Fresso.
last match. So, it's extremely All right, so you know the new normal rules. I don't want to go over the whole thing again, you know, about the lines. Okay, in case you decide you don't like your opponent's call, you can appeal to me. I will rule on it if I see it. If I don't, the call will stand. However, you can choose to go the video challenge route, which you have 3 challenges per match. Okay? And you've got 2 1-minute timeouts. Any questions for me? All right, let me just run a hand through your panels. See if any of Andre's stuff is on here. All right. So let me go to the coin. He's a good friend of mine, so he's all right. All right, gentlemen and ladies, this is heads. Heads?
Yeah.
Whatever's on the other side is tails.
Yeah.
All right, you want to call it?
Yes, please. Heads. We'll start this end, please.
Which end?
This end.
Okay. All right, let's go.
All right, let's go, says Mr. Byron
Who's your starting
Presso.
server?
As we are moments away from getting this mixed doubles final started.
All right,
On
let's
your
walk.
screen, Danni Townsend, the Aussie. Always fun to watch her, to listen to her talk. Calls her partner, George Wall, OMG. Old man George, she says. It'll be fun to see how this pans out between the young and old Aussie duo. But definitely the energy that George Wall brings unparalleled. They're feisty, they're fun to watch, and they're going to start this on their own serve. Danni to Roos.
Right, here we go. Game 1, time in 0-0-2.
Roos, the only player of the tournament so far to play back-to-back games. Let's see if that fatigue takes a toll on her.
0-0-1.
I think the enormity of the situation will weigh in deep, but it is a big game after all. It is a grand final, second last game of the day. With a heavy heart, we will have to sign off a game after this, but till then, enjoy every moment of it, everyone.
Body bag comes up from Armaan Bhatia, straight to George Wall.
1-0, sorry. 1-0-1.
Armaan Bhatia single-handedly won that point, you can say. Almost single-handedly. Roos allowing Armaan to take the lead. The understanding between them, perfect on that occasion.
0-1. Point.
Danny a bit wayward there. Won't get too many other
3-0-1.
chances. 3-0.
Point.
Make it
Timeout.
4-0 with a timeout. That's exactly the number of bugs I've removed from my head on the way up from ground zero. It's hotter today. I don't know whether that has attracted a few more bugs. You could see the players clearly struggling while I was doing the interview. Thwarting. In fact, Miss Hart, when she won with Roos, I was literally using a paddle as a fly swatter. She was happy though. She was happy. Sarthak, I'm sure you could tell from the comm box here what it meant to her. With a 1.5 leg or 1 3/4 of a leg functioning, you could see her struggling. True athlete.
Indeed, sheer commitment and heart shown by Katie Hart over the last 4 days. Gets that goal alongside Roos van Reek. And now the 4-point lead for Armaan Bhatia
See,
and
we have one
Roos.
timeout remaining. Server 2, time in 4-0-1.
Out of bounds. Sarthak, tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, but both the teams seem to have a very similar
game style, a little aggressive. They attack the kitchen very early. Both like the big shots. Spot on. They do have those similarities. You can see Roos go after the drives. Armaan will take his time at the kitchen, attack at the right moment. Similar style between George and Danny. Hence you just get this feeling that this could go the distance, while in the first game, the scoreline doesn't suggest so. But we've seen so many comebacks in this final day itself. Side out there, but another point worth mentioning after this rally. Is the end of the last game went on for a little too long, even though Roos and Miss Hart, caddy Hart, had the advantage for quite a long time, which means Roos had to be on that court for a little longer in these tiring and trying conditions. Would those few 4 or 5 minutes make a difference? As we see, George and Danny capitalizing, coming back strong. Armaan yet to lose a final today. Might just walk away with 4 trophies. Beg your pardon, 3 trophies. Got a little excited there myself. He obviously can't play the women's category.
Let's go!
Timeout receiver, focus 1 minute.
Going for the treble, going for that triple crown as we head into the timeout here. But it's been a quick turnaround if you look at the score now, from 6-0 to 6-4. Bhatia and Reek had that perfect start, slowly making their comeback. Wall and Townsend.
Seconds. Receiver and server, you have 1 timeout apiece. Time in.
Game on. Timeout is now over. Roos, where were you going? Where were you going?
Point.
Opened up an angle and
5-6-1.
anyway, there was a foot fault. Nutmegged. I know it's a different sport, but anything through the leg for me is a nutmeg. Won't dive too much into that conversation, but good to see that lovely shot.
5-6-2.
That's my kind of smash. Power. Interestingly, 6 points in a row, followed by 5 in a row. Both teams with massive momentum. Swings, rather, because it slipped away from Armaan Bhatia and Roos van Reek, that strong 6-point lead that they had.
6-5-2. Point.
Finally, they move ahead from that 6-point score. Get 1 more. In came the around the post, the ATP from Mr. Wall. The Aussie, as his partner calls him, Old Man George. definitely showing us some experience and skill there.
Bruce feels there in the game. Armaan agrees. George has a quiet word with Danny as the plot thickens here on centre court. In the second to last game, live, the DLTA. This, of course, is the PWR DUPR India Masters. 700 points up for grabs, lots of money, lots of prizes, and that coveted gold and silver trophy that you'll see after a few games in a grand prize distribution ceremony. Danny serves.
There we go.
751. Point.
Silly error there by George. He's miffed with himself. Wouldn't like that.
851.
Probably uttered a few words under his breath in that t-shirt. Nobody likes making these small mistakes at such a big stage.
The Indian #1 doing a lot of leg work during that rally. In the end, just enough from Roos. Keeping this going, the Indo-Dutch pair, they have a 3-point lead. A reminder, they were up 6-0. Somehow managed to keep everything in check and found control once again. 9-5 now. 2 points away from grabbing the first game. This is that slice there. Looking to be a little too cute, Armaan Bhatia.
591.
Let's go.
Side out. Serve goes to server #2 now. As you can say, 5-8-2. 5-9-2, I beg your pardon. As we speak, the big giant screen in front of us, the glass, being cleaned and cleared because it's gone really foggy with all the humidity and the air conditioning inside. The staff here doing a fantastic job.
Taking their time, all 4 of them, nice and patient. Dinks on display, and the winner comes from Roos van Reek's battle in the end. Speed up was something there. They take their time, but that's the speed of sudden change in pace. You want to be sure when you want to do that. Roos was on point. Just at the right moment, she saw the opportunity, chose to increase the speed. And you just want to see these dinks, you want to see these hand battles, don't we?
I think one of the best moments is when you hit a shot or take a shot and the opponent has no answer, barely moved there, Danny or George. Great to see.
It's an Australian duo up against an Indo-Dutch pair. This is the mixed doubles final. After this, we have the men's doubles final. From Indian fans' perspective, Armaan Bhatia is eyeing a triple crown. He's got 1 gold in a thrilling men's singles final. Will he get 2 more? That's the big question. As we shift focus back to championship court, where Armaan Bhatia is now ready to serve.
15 seconds called by Byron the legend. And this feels like they have to, Armaan has to go for the kill. 1 point away from glory for game 1.
Point game 11-5.
There we go. More again by Armaan. Seems like
He's extremely greedy today, wants every possible trophy. 3 are for grabs, and that's what he's going for.
Check, check. Just pile, come. Just
Zero, 0-1. Second server.
And we have a little surprise for you. I'm going to let this legend in his own right introduce himself, buddy. Put your headphones on, get the mic up, tell us who you are and why you're so eclectic and important to the sport.
Side out.
Great to be here. I'm Ron Shell, the CEO of NPL Australia, PWR's newest exclusive Oceania partner. And the level of pickleball here has just been mind-blowing on the centre court. Armaan and Roos put on a bit of a clinic, if I'm honest, in that first set. But I do think Danni and George have a chance to come back and force it. But Percy, you've done an amazing job all weekend with your energy. So just wanted to say thank you for that. From everyone around the crowd, from the players, from the fans, you've been unbelievable.
Man, you're too kind. Thank you so much. But let's get back to you, buddy. Tell us about what you guys are doing in Australia, what this organization is, and what you guys stand for, how long you guys have been around for.
Great question. So we've been around for just under 2 years. In Australia, everything's very new in pickleball, just like it is here. We want to be the #1 brand in Australia. We want to run a tournament and league series, which now falls under the PWR umbrella. But we also invest in property and infrastructure and in marketing, events and activations. So we want to grow the sport from tens of thousands of people to hundreds of thousands to 1 million plus by 2028 in Australia.
002.
I love that. And something very different that I've noticed with your organization back home in Australia is your coats are green, mate. You Aussies have just taken over that color. Don't be confused. Don't call it gold. It's the baggy green for the Australian cricketers, and it's green coats here. Tell me, does that make a difference with the ball and just the sight and the line of vision?
Depends who you ask. You know, pickleball players are very particular. However, the green courts work really well still with the beautiful yellow Franklin balls. So we just want, I think tennis has done a good job of making blue a very popular colour for tennis courts, hard courts. We want green to be the colour in Australia. Every time you walk into a pickleball court, you see the colour green, you think NPL, and now you think, hey, that means an NPL tournament's happening with PWR.
Your partner told me a very interesting story about Agassi coming to one of our venues, and actually I don't want to spoil it. Go on and tell us what happened there.
All right, Australian Open this year. We get a call from someone. He goes, I need you to prepare a court in 30 minutes. And we said, sorry, we're booked out. It's a Saturday. We are busy from 7 a.m. through to 6 p.m. There's not one court available. He goes, it's for Andre Agassi. I go, okay. We'll see what we can do. You know, and we called a few of our regulars. We saw their court bookings. We said, hey guys, we're going to give you some extra credits. I know this is frustrating, but if you want, up to you. There's a chance here. You can come and watch, but Andre Agassi's going to come down. Now, in the end, actually, he cancelled that day. So that was a bit frustrating. But then on the Monday, they came down at 10 a.m. and they played against 2 of the players that were here, Tom and Helena. And so Tom, Helena, Andre Agassi and Andre Agassi's agent played pickleball for 2 hours at the Jar in Melbourne.
Who won that game?
Legend says that Andre Agassi thinks he won. Tom and Helena think they won. I was there, and it was impossible to tell. There was a lot of cheering and a lot of smiling, and in the end, they just tapped paddles. We don't know what the final score was.
Does he still have the fire in his belly, does Agassi? Because he's always been a competitor. How was he that day?
He was. It wasn't an exhibition match. He was there to win. He was commenting on the bounce of the court. He was commenting on the balls. He was commenting on the surrounds. You know, he didn't want to come there and just give an easy match for any Australians. You know, and then he left and went straight to his commentary job at the Australian Open because he was commentating as well. So he went from tennis to pickleball to tennis.
Wow, and coming back to the pickleball here, the action heating up. Of course, Armaan being greedy with Roos, wants to win everything he possibly can in three finals, and this one will seal it for him.
Do you think he can do it?
100%, mate. I've gotten into pickleball 3 weeks back, and he's already my favorite player. What are your first thoughts? I'm sure you've seen him before. Do you guys scout a lot of players, and based on what you've seen, what do you think of Armaan?
We do. I just find him so cool and calm in a crisis. Yeah, he's got this quiet... Everyone knows he's a confident player. But you can't tell that sometimes until, you know, you're watching him and he's down. I mean, watching the singles, to be down 9-4 in the second set, 8-0 in the third set, and just have the fortitude to be able to not necessarily just go for broke like a hero. Work your way back into it. Get to 8-3, get to 8-4, get to 8-6, and then start to play your game. I think he's just got a mentality, you know, of a champion, and I can see why, you know, the Indian and Asian and Australian players all love him.
As you'll see on your screen there, fantastic shot. Armaan and Roos looking to finish things off. They already have the first game lead. They wouldn't want to take it to game 3 specifically because they played so much over the last 4 days. And as we see, oh, good try there by George. A little too cocky, but it was fun to watch. And there, mate, you're on camera. Say hello. There, for all the people who couldn't get a face of this amazing Australian accent, that's the face behind it. Sounds like you want to come in here and talk as well? Go for it.
Look, you've got you know, 2 Australians on the court. Rose is essentially a glorified Australian. She spends so much time there, and then Armaan's obviously playing, you know, has played MLP Australia before. So these players are no strangers to each other. What I love though is how much they've improved even over the last year. Danni is just dynamic player, and George is one of the best singles doubles players in Australia. Then you got Armaan, who's this triple threat, and you got Rose, who's that triple threat as well. She could have easily been going for a triple crown. This is her second championship match already, back to back.
Another generic question for you. There's something about you Aussies. I wouldn't call it cocky, but you guys have a certain air about yourselves on the pitch. And let me tell you, the moment the game is over, it's a completely different story. Where does that come from, mate?
I think, you know, we've always been a really strong sporting nation. You know, per capita in the world, there's not many better countries that just produce champions after champions, and we love to talk smack. You grow up, when you're 2 or 3 years old and you can open your mouth and say your first words, the first thing you do is make fun of your siblings, then you make fun of your parents, and then you start making fun of your friends. The only way that you show love in Australia is through hurting each other's feelings. That is it. You know, if you're praising someone, you probably don't like them. If you're hurting their feelings, you're talking smack, there's a bit of banter, there's usually some familiarity, and that's the Australian way.
Okay, now I'm thinking, because the first thing you did when you came here was praise me. What is going on there, buddy?
Look, to be honest, we're feeling each other out. Yeah. We're feeling each other out after this. That was the last compliment I'll give you. Yeah. I like the way Armaan does it though. You know, he also has that banter, and he tries to suck you in being very nice and friendly, and then poop on the court, bang.
And let's step away from pickleball for a second. The Border Gavaskar Trophy coming up. India coming to Australia. You guys always take care of us with your lovely words. Your press never spares us. If you had to give me a prediction right now, if you're a cricketing man, what do you think the Test series is going to end up at?
I think India actually wins this one.
Really?
I think there's a lot of turmoil right now. Like, we don't know where to put Steve Smith in the batting order. You know, he moved down the order. He moved up the order. He's, you know, one of the best players of all time. So, look, I think India pulls an upset.
Interesting. We'll need to see if there's an upset pulled here by Danni and George. I mean, yesterday has been a day of upsets. Real Madrid getting smashed at home by Barcelona. Max Holloway in the UFC. First time he gets knocked out. Let's see if the Aussies here
can do what they do best and silence the crowd here in India.
Let's see. Danni, a former table tennis player growing up, a really, really high-level table tennis player in Australia, and she's transitioned those really soft hands, you know, close to the body to the great sport of pickleball.
Phenomenal stuff around the kitchen here. Just to remind you, you cannot step into the kitchen unless the ball is bounced. That we saw that a couple of times. Until then, until the ball bounces, you have to stay out of that Lakshman Rekha, the dark blue patch that is the kitchen.
Out of all the Australian players you've seen, who's impressed you the most?
Well, whose mustache? It's just one man only. No, but I think it would have to be George. I think it's just his general demeanor, the way he behaves, the way he acts on and off the pitch. I got to interact with him a little bit yesterday at dinner, where all of us were together. I think there's just something about these, about you Aussies. There's a certain confidence that I love, but out of all of them, definitely George. What about you, May? Who's your favorite?
Well, look, I love these two. I really do. I think George's moustache, he's quite demeanour. You know, it is really strong, but then Danni's got a fun side to her. She's young. She's probably the quickest rising superstar in the sport in Australia on the female side. But there's other great characters, you know, and a lot of them are here. And we've got Mitch coming up a bit later.
Again, something that you guys most of you guys are blessed with is height, and in pickleball makes a big difference when you have those levers. You can reach out and trouble the opponents. Do you think that's a massive advantage, and that's why the sport is also picking up an additional benefit in Australia?
Look, I think it definitely helps. Look, there we have on screen my colleague David Onju, who's also the league and tournament director for all of our league and tournaments in Australia, which are now going to earn PWR points. He has no idea that the camera's on him. He's been complaining about how many bugs he's eaten in the last 10 minutes. There are an incredible amount of bugs, guys.
Get your protein in, buddy. Get your protein in.
Exactly. Bear Grylls would be proud. 5-all. This is very tense. This is very, very tense. Well left.
Out of all the sports, you guys play a bunch in Australia, and of course AFC, which is indigenous just to Australia. Where would you rank pickleball as a growing sport and as a sport as itself right now?
Honestly, that's the job ahead. It's probably something like number 10. You know, AFL is number 1, Australian football. Then you've got rugby, and then you probably have cricket is probably next. Then it's really basketball, soccer, tennis. And then you start getting to the, you know, less popular sports, but still popular, and pickleball's rising through there. I don't think it can ever get ahead of, you know, Australian football and rugby, but I do think it can potentially, you know, over the next 5 years, be that number 3 or number 4 sport. And that'll come down to participation, it'll come down to events like this, which make the sport seem really special.
So right now you're looking at dethrowing the Socceroos?
Yeah, exactly right. Look, the Socceroos are really popular when they're going well. We are not a soccer nation. We're not a European, South American soccer nation. When the Socceroos are going well, suddenly everyone has interest in soccer. But otherwise, you know, there's enough soccer players, but it's not a soccer nation. Huge from Armaan there.
Point. Grunt to follow, more than a grunt. Him and Roos are pumped. Like I said, they don't want to take it. Roos has played back-to-back games, which no athlete has done in this tournament. She'll want to get to bed early, or at least start celebrating early. What is the best case scenario for you here? Of course, the Aussies winning is your thing, but for someone who's been to this tournament, of course, it's being played for the first time. What are your first thoughts on how it's been organized and the athletes and the level of pickleball?
Look, I think the simplest thing is 2 things have been done that have really shocked the world. One is just the overall grandeur of the experience. You know, we want to take pickleball from an afterthought as a sport in some countries to, you know, one of those prestigious sports, and you need to make it look prestigious. The second thing is what all the players say, the player experience. Second to none. A shout out Pranav and the team at PWR. They said that before. A lot of people can talk the talk, but walking the walk with the player lounge and how they treat the players, how they elevate the players, the social media. There's a lot of bones here to turn this into a sport that people absolutely love. So, look, I think this time next year, when this tournament is run, there'll be 5,000 people in the stands. That's my prediction.
Woo, bold prediction by a bold Aussie. I'm going to have to run down for the presentation, but I'm going to leave you in some very able hands. Sarthak will be taking over. My man's been ready, waiting as usual. You guys have a good one.
Point.
Thank you. Enjoy the presentation. We'll be down there to celebrate. Hopefully it's a third set, though, and you'll be back up here.
6-7-1. Point.
All right, it looks like we're at 7-all. This is a pivotal moment. This is where people usually get tight. Once you get to the 7s and 8s, the game changes. It's not the free-flowing, game that we're used to. It starts to be who can actually act like it's still 0-0, like it's still 2-2. Very, very big serve coming up here. Danny and George do not want to let Armaan and Roos get close to 9 or 10, because otherwise, to be honest, it looks like it'll be over.
7-7-1.
7-7-1.
Goes after it there, George Wall. And just moments back, big insight you provided here into the mental side of the game. You don't want to treat this like a special occasion. 7-7-1. Take us deeper into what is going on in the athlete's mind and what is someone who's new to the sport should learn from all four of these players on court.
You just need to settle the nerves and not think about the overall result. It's very easy to skip ahead and be like, if we don't win this point, I'm not going to get into the third set, and therefore we're going to lose the match. It's, what we try to say to our players is if you can play 1 or 2 points at a time, you're always going to be better off. Much easier said than done. Especially when you see that score right behind you. You don't always have that. It's staring you right in the face, and that's very tough, very tough.
Essentially, you simplify. You just take it 1 point at a time. Let your mind just be in the moment rather than overthink it. Think about the result. Think about the opportunity to grab gold. Just keep it 1 point in the moment is what we've been beautifully brought into the mental side of the game by you. Tell us also, how has this PWR DUPR India Masters as an experience been for you? Take us through that.
Well, look, it's been unbelievable. As an official partner now, we just announced that partnership actually on Tuesday. And then the event started on Thursday. So to come here, we've been treated as well, exactly like Pranav and PWR have been treating all the players. And with that, it's meant that we feel part of a family that wants to grow the sport globally. They don't just want US players, they don't just want Asian players, they don't just want Australian players, they want them equally. And with that, we feel like that being here as fans, as supporters of the players, and as their tournament partners now in Oceania. So just amazing. Look, you guys are also friendly. And, we get to stand up here in the VIP lounge just behind us, and that's a pretty special place to be.
Receiver, you have 1 timeout, server, 1 timeout. Time in, 9-7-2.
Come on, Danny.
Point.
Come on, Danny.
Here we go, 10-7-2. This is to force a third set for the amazing Australian duo.
Let's go.
Side out.
The let's go from Armaan and Roos. Well, they need 4 to win this. We have a golden point here at 10 each.
7-10-1.
Armaan with the serve now.
Point.
That's a tough miss there. Like we said, it gets tight. Now when it gets tight, and to be honest, the golden point is quite unique. I don't know what you think about it, but I'm not used to it. We're used to first to 11 win by 2, which we will have if we have a third set. But the golden point puts that extra bit of sizzle on the sausage. And, we love to see that as well, because it's all about pressure and it's all about who can handle it. Like we've been talking about, the golden point adds that extra little touch.
Take us through. I've seen a lot of these dinks in the doubles. Take us through how the game evolved. I did realize over the last 11 months from a lot of dinking play, slower play, it has gone towards the drives. The speed has increased. Now right here you saw the dinks and then the speed up. But that's just in one particular rally. But overall in the context of the larger game, how do you see the sport evolving?
Well, if you follow the US, which is where the sport is well ahead, it went from dink rallies that were sometimes 100 dinks long to now this year they call it the banger era, where the bangers have come in who like to speed up. They speed up off the bounce. They speed up when it's there. They sometimes speed up when it's not there, but they target certain parts of the body and certain players. Now, I think what's going to happen is it's just going to come back and find an equilibrium. You need to be and have every dink in your repertoire. Otherwise, players like Armaan will just keep going at you until you hit it in the net. However, if you don't take advantage of half opportunities, you're not going to be in that top percentage in the world. You can't just rely on the others making a mistake. So somewhere in between, it's not the full bangers, it's not the full dinkers. That's where it's going to head.
Wow, fascinating insight. Not the full bangers, not the full dinkers. That's where we are headed. At the moment, more of the banger era.
Definitely here. You can see that Australia's a bit known for that as well. And they're on cue.
On cue, says George Wall. He's such a lively character.
He is, and this is a massive point. They are 9, 10, 2. Here we go.
So close, just wide, that one. And this is that golden point. In fact, this one is championship point. To close it, to grab gold. Who gets this one?
Come on, Danny.
Oh, wow. That is just tough to see. Danny and George have 2 chances now. 2 serving chances to send it to a third set, and watch Danny and George's reaction if they get there.
Come on, Danny.
And there we have it. We have a third set.
Interestingly, a subdued reaction because George and Danny didn't really realize that it was a golden point.
Which is what I told you, we do not play golden point usually in Australia. Now, obviously, we are going to keep things consistent at PWR events, but they walked back thinking they had another serve.
And who better than an Aussie? That must be a special moment. Seeing your Aussie counterparts take it to a third. Ron, take us through how you've seen these guys evolve. You spoke of Danny Townsend's table tennis experience. Take us through how the journey's been for them down under when it comes to pickleball.
Let's put it this way. Both of those players played in a tournament that NPL ran 1 year ago. The quality of their play, just 1 year later, it's like I'm looking at 2 different people. It's just amazing how much they've increased, and they do train a lot. It's not like it just comes out of thin air. But we're talking about a level of quality that I really do think rivals almost the second tier now in the US and getting closer to the first tier, which is pretty amazing from where we've come from.
And speaking of pretty amazing, the all-Aussie pair is now going to battle it out against the Indian and the Dutch in a decider. One more going to the distance.
Sorry, new game. Yeah.
3 sets, that's the best 2 words in pickleball right now. This is what it's all about. You've got David there sitting alone, enjoying it from an NPL perspective, cheering on the Aussies. Right, there's a bit of energy now. Now, Armaan is not going to stay quiet this set. He knows what's at stake here. The papers, his name's going to be up in lights. He does not want to miss out on that opportunity. I will say this. Here we go. Now he's playing serious.
Great point you make there. He's going to be all across the headlines with that triple crown. He knows what's at stake.
He knows what's at stake. And here's a little side story for you. It's silly now in hindsight, but I bet against Armaan in the singles with a few people. I won't say who. And the first thing Armaan did when he saw me in the lift straight after the game and goes, "You owe your friends a bit of money, don't you?" He doesn't forget. He does not forget.
He loves proving people wrong. When the odds are stacked up against this man, when it's all looking down and out. Just the scoreline. 4-9 in the second game. Comes back, wins it. In the decider in that singles, trailing 0-8. Stayed 11 straight points. How does he manage to just take us through the mindset of the man?
I think you have to be there. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't do that in your first or second or third game of pickleball. He's been down. Every good player in every sport gets into these situations. You start to feed on past experiences. When you play as much pickleball and be in as much professional, tight situations like Armaan's been, it's all about remembering that. Okay, that last game, I was 7-0 2 weeks ago. What's the difference now? You know, and you start to think like that, and then it's not that daunting because you've been there and done that. Experience is a real thing. It's not rocket science to say that, but you'll find players that haven't been through much experience but have a lot of talent, they get the tightest, usually when it gets to those situations.
It's taken him a long time to develop this mental fortitude. They say the mind is also like a muscle. It takes time, and his muscle memory certainly just shows up in the most challenging, most daunting of occasions. How does he do it? It's just remarkable, but it's taken him a long time.
It has. It's impressive. I've got to know him a bit more this trip. I guess I've got a question for you. Who's your, I mean, I don't even know if he's your favourite, but who's, apart from Armaan, who have you liked watching that is Indian this tournament? Because there have been so many amazing performances.
Without a doubt, Aditya Ruhela. You were witness to that quarterfinal. Before the match started, I highlighted it truly is worthy of a final. I wanted to see them in the final, but now with what Dusty delivered, wow, hats off to Dusty Boyer coming in all the way from America. That was top quality pickleball. But from an Indian perspective, like you asked me, Aditya and Armaan, that rivalry is here to stay for a very long time.
As far as I understand it, Aditya took the first 2 games they played, and now Armaan has won the last 3, which is pretty incredible. I know Aditya is maybe a bit more of a single specialist for now, but what a rivalry. I feel like these are the types of rivalries that, you know, just every sport needs, and we've probably got it for at least 5 or 6 more years, if not more. They're on fire right now. They are on fire. This is ominous for George and Danni.
And interestingly, in the first game as well, it was Armaan Bhatia, Roos and Reek who took the first 6 points. George and Danni came back to the next 5. And was this a foot fault? Armaan not too sure.
I've really loved our head ref. I think it's Byron Flesser. He's just got this demeanour about him as well. Usually you associate referees with angry. They want to wield power. You know, a bit power hungry sometimes. And, you know, shout out to all referees. It doesn't happen without them, so they're a massive part of the game. But Byron has this personality about him. I think that same confidence from having been there, done that for so long. And the players absolutely love him.
Without a doubt, a legend of the sport, the big American, the 69-year-old. But now all our eyes are on that foot fault.
Watch. Right there. Watch right there, coming back. Right
Ron,
there.
you'll be able to take us through this. What do you make of it?
Look, it was pretty clear in the end. But Armaan had the edge of his foot on the line, which you're not allowed to do.
Everyone always challenges
and
me
so it was. I think it was a great challenge, though. You're 5-0. You want to keep the foot, you know, on the gas. You want to keep, you know, the hand on the jugular, really. So look, Danni and George have to get a wriggle on right now.
0-5
right now.
Yeah. 0-5-1. Side out.
An Aussie commentator, Ron Shell, right next to me, and you would certainly want them to make the most of every opportunity. Are they coming back into this, Ron?
They're coming back right now. They're going to win 3 points in a row, and it starts now, this massive comeback.
Second server.
The commentator's curse there.
I will say one thing, we were watching in the hotel room last night, some of the games, and you know, I say the sport needs colourful personalities, it also needs colourful commentators. You guys have brought the energy in every game, and it's tough sometimes, you know, especially pickleball when it can get slow down sometimes. You need the commentators to bring the energy, so very excited to see what you guys do at future tournaments held here.
just to add to what you said, with the energy on centre court is so palpable. The action is so thrilling. You really feel it up here, and we have the best seat in the house, just wanting to add to whatever we witness on that court. And it's just been such good pickleball over the last 4 days, Ron.
It has. How have you found this view? You know, you've probably gone down and seen it from all the views. How have you found having this bird's eye view from the corner?
It does help with some of those calls where you see the ball land so close to the baseline and the sideline. It just gives us that ability to see from an Hawkeye's perspective. But again, we have the best seats courtesy the air conditioning, so it just makes the job so much easier.
I'd pay a lot of money to have this right there on the VIP side on the show court. Mainly the bugs. I can handle the heat, but we're not used to the bugs from Australia. I'm not saying we're precious. We can get used to them, but I see a lot of people moved up to the VIP area to avoid that. But now we have what we were talking about. This is it. This shows whether you have the mettle of a champion and you can come back against really strong
15
players.
15 seconds.
15 seconds, the tension, the quiet.
All right,
You
time in.
you can hear the ball bounce from here.
6-0, 6-1-1.
Here comes the D. This time no speed up, not required.
Danni just doing a bit of theatrics there with the stretching motion. She's frustrated. She's one of the best
7-1-1.
soft-handed players in Australia. You don't see that very often from her.
Do you reckon this is nerves?
I think it is. I think it's nerves. I also think, you know, they're just the pressure when you play people who are as strong as Roos and Armaan. They just don't let you have easy points. And that's one thing, you know, we try to tell all our players. You know, you might have all the talent in the world. If you cannot... Wow, look at that. Incredible. He's gone to that next level, which we know he has. But
Receiving team.
sometimes when you're playing, you just need an easy point to get back in the game. You know, the cheapie. We call it the cheapie. I haven't seen them give much cheapies to Danni Elle and George. They've had to earn everything, and that is a very tiring way to earn a championship victory.
And interestingly, Armaan Bhatia has had to go the distance in both the finals. The one before this tested him. Again, there's a different side of him that comes up in the third game. The mentality that is visible in a decider.
Point.
We now have 9 championship points in a row. I mean,
10-1-1.
we're nearly there. All right, here we go. What can George and Danni do to stay in the game? They just need to get the serve back. And it's over. We have 2 out of 3 and 2 out of 2 for Roos. Incredible tournament for Roos. I think she made the quarterfinals of the singles, has just taken home 2 championships. Armaan is on track for making some of the greatest history in the sport of pickleball, and he knows that the smile is as wide as the court. Disappointment for George and Danni, but huge to get to the final here against incredibly tough opposition. It was a stacked draw. A stacked draw.
What a moment. 2 finals for the young Dutch, and she grabs gold in both. First alongside the Kiwi Katie Hart, now alongside India's #1 Armaan Bhatia. But how good is this storyline looking for Armaan? He still has one more final coming up alongside his partner Harsh.
The only thing standing in the way is Mitch Hargraves and Roman Esteraja. That's a little, I'll tell you what, you know these athletes. They say behind, you know, in front of the cameras that they want people to get the Triple Crown. They're happy for them. They don't. All right.
Another final that had to go to the third game. Armaan making a habit of this. Makes me run down, thinking it's time after the second game, and I have to run back up into commentary. Why you make me do cardio, bro? I'm a commentator.
Hey, last time I was 9 foot down when you ran down.
And it was completely worth it, I'm not going to lie. Insect in the eye actually improved your vision. Some fantastic close quarter shots there.
Sorry for yeah.
I'm saying, I think once the insect got into your eye, your vision actually opened up because that little rally you had there, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, thank you. No, Armaan saved me with that one. So, yeah.
You know, something that was fantastic to see, and I think something that this sports, this particular sport showcases is you literally went to battle with Jay yesterday, and today he was giving you advice. Quick turnaround, fantastic to see. How did that come about?
He's a good friend of ours, and you shake hands after the match, everything's done then. You don't go on and take it outside.
All right, guys, absolutely nothing old about the performance, man. You were phenomenal. You reckon you have this added advantage of having these big levers that you can use? They sort of cut the angle out every time you were taking shots, coming close to the kitchen. You think that sort of negated the long reach that you have?
Yeah, you got to use what you got. I think Armaan's a very long boy too, so we were both reaching in, trying to attack where we could. Just didn't quite have it on the day today. I'm very proud of Danni for being out here, and I think she left a little present for the cleaners in the bucket around the back. So really proud for her digging in, and it was a great fight, and congratulations to you guys on a great title.
Danni, absolute legend, man. I love, we were talking up in the comm box about you are an absolute live wire. I think you should keep your head up, held up high, nothing to be ashamed of. Do you reckon there was a particular point in the game, you guys lost a bunch of points back to back, especially in the last one? You think that's where it turned around?
Oh, I think they just played really well today, and I mean, we tried to play our best, and ultimately they came up in the end, which, hey, they're good players. Let's go.
Look, I'll let you guys get to it, and there's one last game coming up that you're playing again. This man's greedy. You reckon you're getting that one as well?
Hoping. Yeah, we're going to come in all fiery and excited. I think we've already held the tournament back 1 hour late, so let's get on it quick.
You know, there's one thing after watching this game. You guys are champions, but I think in this game, there were 4 champions. All of you, legendary stuff, fantastic. Congratulations to you, and keep your head up held high.